It's 7 o'clock, I'll entertain a motion to open.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
It's the meeting of the Acushnet Finance Committee, Wednesday, February 5th, 2020. This meeting is being audio and video recorded. The first order of business we have this evening is the budget hearing for the Highway, Water, Sewer, Forestry Departments. Mr. Dan Menard.
All right.
Welcome, Dan.
How we doing? Another year?
Another year.
I guess we want to start with the highway. You guys got the old updated one version, correct?
We do.
Just want to see, like, some of this still might be, changed in the future, I guess. Me and Julie discussed them, but we still haven't presented this to the select board yet, and we might get the, thrown out or put in or whatever, so some of this might change in time, but I figured I'd just let you guys know that we haven't talked to the board yet on these budgets, so.
They may increase it for you.
Yeah, that's probably not likely. But we'll give it a shot. All right. Julie, you mixed them all up on me. You gotta try to find
Did
them
I?
anyway.
Sorry. Take your time. You're the only one on tonight, so.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
all the time.
Hey Julie, I have a question for you
Okay.
while we're waiting. How much work would it be, whenever a question starts off like that?
I know.
Never get it right. Like the second line here says salaries, permanent positions.
Yeah.
And there's a number there, but there's no context. Is there any way that we could fill in FTEs when there's more than one position?
Yeah,
Big
so,
deal.
so one of the things that I'm working on getting done for the budget this year, there are a few things that I want to do to spruce it up a little bit, and that's one of them, is to kind of show more information on full-time employees, especially where people are split. People always have questions. Well, it says the salary here, but in reality, it might be split between 3 different departments. Dan is a great example. He's split between 3 departments. So people always have questions, and they feel like it may not be completely clear when they look at the budget. So I want to produce something that shows all of the full-time employees where their pay comes out of and what the totals are, so people can see it and know what they are.
Yeah, if we had that in a separate sheet, we could reference it,
Yep.
that would work too.
Yeah, so that's something
Just
that
be
I'm working on.
helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
You guys ready?
We're ready.
All right. As the salaries, it's a 2% across, and that was just contractual with the union and us as well. So that's basically what that whole section's about. We had an increase, well, we actually, I put an increase in RM equipment. Well, actually, I passed one. I missed building and grounds. We went up a little bit just because of past times. It seems like I'm spending in between that $7,000, a little over 7,000. So last year we kind of under budgeted that. So I put it back up to 8. Again, this is kind of realistic budgets we're kind of putting through here. And you'll notice as soon as we get to the road materials, and I tried again a couple last year and the year before, and it seems to get cut back. But, I just want to let you in. I keep all the books of all the town meetings, and I had 125,000 in road materials in 2012, so we're in, 2020, so it's just, even if you keep it, it's always, you're getting less just because the price of materials and everything always go up, so just figured I'd give you that hint so you don't get horrified when you see my number on that. But anyway, so we went up a little bit on RM equipment, and it's just because what we've been spending over the years, and I'm just trying to keep it so we can, we just had a backhoe, the transmission on that, and that ain't even up for like one of the capital items. The transmission went on the backhoe, and it cost us a little over $8,000 to get it fixed. So just giving you like something like even on the excavator, something a pump goes, and some of them things go $10,000-$20,000 a whack. So that's kind of the reason we went with that. this is about where we've been spending, you know, so. We might not go over it, I mean, again, it is what it is, it's just nice to have in there, so that's what we put in there.
You're still doing a lot of your own maintenance?
Yes, we do all our own servicing and all equipment, so, again, something like the tranny, that's a little out of our league, so that had to be done by John Deere, and again, it had to be pulled out and rebuilt all the clutch packs, and something got in there, and went, you know. You guys just want to go over, right, the items that were, everything else is kind of level funded, correct?
Yeah.
Have you got any questions or anything
I have a
else?
question for you, Dan.
Yep.
In 17, 18, and 19, engineering fees
Yep.
were, hovering, well, actually, that's not true, in 18, they were high too. But in 17 and, it looks like 19, they were low, and then we jumped up to 20. Is there
Yep.
some specific, I probably should.
Well, we've been doing, actually, I've been trying to get, we're actually working on a lot of projects. We started on Mendel Road, and Mendel Road, so the engineering work that was done on there, so I got half of it done. I got actually all the materials, the weather just beat us up this year, so I didn't get to finish. I'm gonna try to finish Mendel in the spring, well, half of it, and the other engineering is to finish the rest of the, where it's actually the problem, where it goes across the road right near where that apple orchard is. So I gotta kinda go up towards the corner, heading towards Perry Hill, so it's another, like a half a mile or a mile we're gonna have to do. So there's more engineering work that needs to be done there. We're also working on engineering work on Hamlin Street. Again, hopefully this bridge within the next year or two gets done, and I want to kind of do all the drainage on that as well before we just pave that road, so that's the other reason why I have that. So there's some engineering work on Hamlin Street as well, and they're both drainage projects, and that's all for that.
So you think on Mendel Road, that drainage is gonna be done this year?
The bottom half. What happened is there was some drainage in there, it was small pipes, and it really weren't basins. They were just a grate going into the pipe, a 12-inch pipe that went across out. I don't know if you know where Frank Knox lives, on that corner where the camp was. So that's where it actually drains into the power lines over there. So before we can do any more down the road, we had to upsize the drainage that's existing. So we're taking the stuff, that 12-inch out. I went from 12 to 24-inch across the street, and then we're gonna be going up and then change it down to 18, and then down to 15, and I'll probably be down 12 on the next section. And then now I'm putting all basins and everything else, which I have all the materials, they're all at the shop. We actually did cross the road. We went, put the new pipe across the road, and I put a basin in that power lines, and then again, the weather kind of got us in November, it was snowing and everything, so we kind of, the excavator was actually frozen in a puddle over there, when we were working, so that's on hold in the spring. We got that section, it's gonna actually go up to, where Garrison Lane is,
Yep.
and that's where we're gonna end for this section, upsizing the pipe. And the engineering work is from Garrison up to the corner up there, which is, like I said, another probably 3/4 mile up the road, and that should take care of that whole section. And it's actually, the problem is where that apple orchard, it comes right out of that hill, the water comes out of that hill, and it crosses the road, and we're always constantly sanding it and stuff like that, so.
You can see it. I mean, you
Yeah.
can see it. It comes out in sheets.
It's been doing that for years, and then we're just trying to, and
The
there's a
old
lot
fire
of water.
tower is. the
Correct.
fire tower up in that area.
Correct, yep. So that's what the engineer, hopefully that answered your question
Yes, thank
on
you.
that. The next one, again, I think the next one is the road materials, and that went up, I went to 200. My budget was 120. 6 months, it's depleted. So that's, like I said, with all the materials, and the other thing that's killing us now, we do get a paver now. It's a cheaper paver, but we're able to, just even doing them patches on Hamlin Street cost $10,000 just for the mix. So now I get this paver, and I did the other one on Main Street, and we did another one on Balsam Brook Road. We did another big patch over there, and with the paver, you can eat through some road materials like real quick, so $67 a ton, and like I said, it was 10 to 15,000 on Hamlin Street just to do them patches. And then we do, like I said, we did the one on Main Street, and then I did one on Balsam Brook, and believe me, it goes quick. So that's why the 120 is definitely, it depends if what we do is just gonna have to be less asphalt work or whatever, if they ain't, available. So that's the reason why we put that up to 200 versus 120.
Two quick questions, if I could. Dan, the 200,000, you think that'll be the annual number, roughly? It'll go up?
It kind of should be. Again, like I said, we've been kind of, I had 125, I had 5,000 more in 2012.
Right.
You know, so that, you know, even if you kept it at that same number, you're going down, you know what I mean? The materials go up.
Do you get materials all year long, or is this just summer, spring?
All year long. Asphalt, like patches, always potholes. The only thing we can't get asphalt through Keaton now, we go to Rochester by 2 minutes. They used to be, like the years past, they'd only be open a day or two a week, and now they're staying open all week. So we're able to get mix and do potholes and hot mix. It's actually cheaper. It's more than Keaton, but it's still cheaper than that coal patch, and that coal patch just, everybody knows
Doesn't
that, just
last.
never stuck in the
Right.
thing, so.
Right.
And that was like 140 a ton. I think we're paying like 100 now at Rochester by 2 minutes. We pay 67 at Keaton, but again, they close for the winter, so.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Dan, are you able to get ahead of, I know a couple of years ago, we talked about like the list of roads that needed to get repaired, and we just didn't have the expense, or we didn't have the budget for the supplies to really.
As far as like chapter 90 and stuff like
No,
that?
no, just, I know that there was like kind of this wish list of repairs to be done on the street. Have we made any dent on that, or we still don't give you enough money to make any sort of dent in
To,
getting through the roads that?
I mean, again, we do the best we can what we have. I mean, to do everything, it's very costly. It'd be more manpower, a lot more funding than what we're doing.
So the list is still there?
Well, it seems like you get so much done, and then
it
10 more things
yeah,
come
it
back
gets
in. It's like
replaced, yeah.
It's hard, you know, and yeah, it's just, you know, you fix a bunch of basins and stuff that are broken, and get another list for, 20 more, so. Again, we're just trying to pick away and do what you can with what you have, and. what
You still have that vacuum truck that we bought years ago, the used one from Fairhaven?
The catch basin truck, you mean?
The catch basin,
truck, yes, we do. Yeah, we paid it, that was from town of Wareham. We paid $5,000 for it. We don't use it for a full-time thing, because it's really not, we're currently paying like $11 a basin to have them done. We got a little over 1,000 basins in town, so it costs us $11,000, and I did the math, if I had to put, and the guy's coming in there, he comes in with 3 trucks, and he's done in a few weeks, 3 weeks. I'd have one guy on that all summer long, so I kind of did it, it'd take him 3 months to do it with one truck, and I'd lose a guy all summer doing it, and, just even his figure his salary, and then that's not even including fuel and maintenance on the truck, where it's an old truck.
Right.
I do enjoy having that truck, just because this is any time of the year, if I have a problem, I have that truck to go grab it. And again, the other thing is, where it's an old truck, to do that 1,000 basins every year, we'd be probably looking to come for a new truck for you guys. And I'm pushing that on the back burner, because we really don't use it all the time, and it's just an asset to have for a backup. So you don't have to count on nobody if you had to go and, do basins, so.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at with that.
Thank you.
As you'll see, if we talk about the capital later, because one of the things was a catch basin truck, and, I don't, unless the prices go really crazy, because a lot of towns pay a lot more money, because for catch basin cleaning, they're paying, $30, $40, a basin, that's when it gets a lot of money, and you'd probably be more apt to use our own equipment. So.
On the personnel, going back to the salaries on the personnel, there was some discussion about adding another person to the,
That was last year, and again, I didn't talk to the board yet, so that would be still a touch and go. This one this is just the original budget, and we're keeping it as.
the additional person.
Again, if the projects come up, we start trying to, one of the, questions was doing water mains and stuff like that, and if that comes to a thing, we'll have to change the way we're doing it, because you gotta have, if that's something you do, water mains or sewer mains or anything like that, it's gonna have to change personnel, and, because you don't wanna give away from what the day-to-day stuff is, but you need guys, that's all they do, and that's what, gonna do either water and sewer work or whatever, so that's where it'll change personnel, so I think we're just keeping it the way it is for now until something like that comes up. Did that answer that question?
And Dan,
I'm Ron Melbourne. I'm
Okay.
new to the
New to the
committee,
group,
so-
yeah.
New to the group, so.
You look like it.
if
So go
I'm-
gentle, Dan.
If I'm a little behind, forgive me for that, but I'm just trying to see if I understand this right. So it seems like you've been, for a number of years, you've been at the 112 to 120 level on road materials. I'm going back to the road materials.
Yep.
So to go from 127 to 200, that's a 25% increase from last year's actual, if I'm reading that
Yeah.
right. Are there things like that you've deferred? Is it like we have that much, it's deferred that you're going to be
Well,
going this
because
year with it? Or is that just trying to get a clear understanding of we're behind, we got to make up? Or is it just because that's really where we need to be just to kind of keep it going? And
Again, this is kind of a wish list, that's where I should be to,
Mhm.
I'm already, my budget, I got 120, it's already gone, 6 months, it's done. I have no more road materials. So, I mean, we had an article, and again, I got stuff in my yard to put in and stuff, but it's still, my thing's to please, so I'm kind of using out of
But is
different
that-
line items just to,
is that typical though, or is it, did you just have like a
No, like I said, we get the
large
paver, we get
big-
the, no, I said we get the paver now, so that paver, like, will eat budgets up quick. Like I said, you go
Okay.
through $10,000, and I was done that in a couple days, 2-3 days. I think I was done Hamlin Street. In 3 days, I spent $15,000 on mix. You know, so when I start using that paver, because we just got this paver, this wasn't something we had in the past, so with that thing, it really accelerates the funding, you know. But again, that's stuff that's been so, I mean, that was just piecemeal too, just a patch on that, just to keep it up, because that road was so bad, so.
All right.
And on the other hand, if you had to pay
Oh, yeah.
contractor to come and
Oh.
do that
Yeah,
same work,
Yeah,
it would be a lot more costly to have an outside contractor come,
correct.
opposed to you doing it.
Because again, that's when it gets all to the prevailing wage laws, and it's,
Exactly.
you might as well, it's over double. The way, you know, in the past, even I look at water mains and stuff replacing, if we're not doing them in-house, it's over double to have it hired out for any kind of excavating work.
Any other questions on the raw materials or any other items on the budget here?
I have one question. Are you filing any articles?
We do have a couple, yeah, for, well, it's equipment, and actually, we discussed with Julie today, you know, we're gonna have a couple other things coming, I guess. Looking for maybe some insulation at the town bar to save on our energy line item, because that's one of these things that we kind of, you know, we go through a lot of oil, but there's no insulation in that town building at all. I mean, your boiler's older, but again, you know, Jim was talking about doing something with pellets and trying to do, he had some kind of grant or something to have a pellet boiler in there, and, you know, that would probably offset the oil. But again, without having any type of insulation in the ceiling, the heat's just going out. So we're kind of gonna look, and I'm gonna get some pricing on that, and we'll see what we can do by getting some insulation.
Can the town use the Mass Save program for that, for insulation costs?
I'm sure we can, yeah,
Yeah.
if there's anything available. I know, so typically like a green communities would be something we might look at, but I know that for this upcoming grant round, we're finishing up the school lighting. It was a big project, so they did half of the lighting already over the end of the summer, and then for this grant round, they're gonna finish it. And that will take up all the money we have for Green Communities Grant, so where this seems like something that would be helpful for us now, we're looking at maybe doing an article. But yeah, if there are any rebates that are available, we're always eligible to get them.
Yeah, we're gonna look at all our options and see what we can, and I'll probably talk with Jim and see what he can come up with.
Yeah, just a regular oil burner?
Huh? I'm sorry?
Just a regular oil burner in that?
Correct. We got now, yeah. So, it's old, but it works good, you know, and it's, again, it goes through oil, it's eating oil. You know, probably every 3 weeks we're filling up, we got 200-300 gallon tanks over there, and it goes through oil, you know. And we keep it at 50 as the temp in the garage, and we're working in there, I mean, it's.
Kind of like the town hall.
I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, once in a while, if the guys are working in there, they might bump it up to 60, but we don't, yeah, don't go above that, and it keeps at 50 at night.
Have you ever looked into the waste oil burner?
I did not. we don't generate enough oil for that, then we'd have to go to get it. And I just have a few friends that have them, and it's a lot of cleaning and maintenance, and if you get bad oil, get water in it or something like that, you have a lot of problems with it, you know. You gotta make sure where you get your oil from and stuff, and it can't be out barrels outside that had, you know, got water in them and stuff, because then thing don't work, and you're cleaning filters and this and that. So that's one of the reasons. I know it's free for free oil, but it's a lot of maintenance to them type of heating systems. So, and that's more time we don't have to do that, you know. So.
Any other questions for some of that?
So more than one then?
I'm sorry?
More than one article?
It was I had a loader, front end loader we're looking to get, and the sweeper I was looking for. I think that's a wish list, but I figured I'll throw both of them out there. The loader is one of my more ones I'm gonna be looking for. We're getting to that, it's 18 years old now, it's get, you know, 8,000 hours, and you know what happens, the pins and bushings get sloppy and before it breaks. That's one of our main pieces of equipment we use for everything. It's loading the sanders, it's, you know, for screening, for crushing, for, you know, any type of tree work or anything like that. That loader's, you know, even snow plowing, you know, bucking snow if you get deep snow or anything like that. So that is like a major piece of the DPW, you know, so.
You wouldn't get rid of it, right? You'd
No,
keep it.
no. Again, because, you know, we maintain it, and it's operational, but I can see something over the year. The pins and bushings are getting a little, you know, sloppy and stuff like that, and that's what happens with them, you know, and then it costs you a ton of money to start doing, replacing all that. I would definitely keep it. That would be something more probably you'd put into the recycling center, because he uses it, so it ain't gonna be ran every day, and it would just be used for type of recycling.
Right.
Because a lot of people come in, they put the stuff in the bucket of the loader.
Yeah, I've been
and
there.
he goes, puts
Yeah,
them
I've
in the dumpsters. So that's what he kinda uses it for anyway, so it would kinda be, I kinda like it to part of the barn, you know?
Do we have a price about?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, the loader?
Yeah.
Did I bring in the quotes? Did I just-
275?
Yeah,
Is what I have.
275 for that.
Yeah, the loader is 275.
Yeah. I don't know if I have them with me, I got it.
Yeah, and then the sweeper is 250,000. So, when I get you guys the capital budgets too, I'll include, Dan does a really thorough job with his inventory. He has all the equipment listed, the age, you know, the year that it was made, and surprisingly, everything is so old but well maintained. You know, he keeps up with the hours and the mileage and everything, so, you know, like this one that he's talking about is 18 years old. We would still be able to keep the old one and use it for other projects, but it'll give you a better sense when you're spending something that, you know, paying a bill that high, you know, $250,000, it's, a lot of the DPW equipment is expensive, but at least when you have that background, you'll be able to see that it's not like frivolous. Every year we're getting, you know, new toys for the DPW. They make those things last, and they do a really good job of maintaining it. But I know with Dan, at the end of the life, you know, this loader that he has now, he's gonna hit the point where the expenses to maintain it and keep it repaired are gonna start increasing, where it makes sense to think about getting a new.
Well, look,
How
like-
long have you had it for? Do you know?
18 years.
It's
But I'm saying, like, usually you get into the 10,000 or over, they start, now you're looking at engine repair, engine work, or, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying, the cost gets a lot if you start looking for new engines replaced and stuff like that. It's not just the machines. You get into the, you know, trains or engines and stuff like that, it gets very costly. I do have the quotes, I don't have 10 of them, but if you guys want to pass them around, this is from Wood for the sweeper, and then that's Schmidt for the loader. That's the sweeper, and that's the loader.
So the loader should go in first.
I like the loader, yes. That one, like I said, the sweeper, I mean, again, that one is a lot of maintenance, and where it's kind of outdated, where it's all chain drives, sprockets, shafts, and it's chains, and you see we're constantly working on that thing when it goes out, the sweeper. The new ones are all hydraulic motors, and they have hoses, so I mean, the worst thing that can happen is a hose blow or something like that. Usually them hydraulic motors last forever, so I mean, that's kind of, again, it ain't the end of the world. We don't use a sweeper all the time, but, and actually Julie was looking, and maybe I'm gonna look into that. I never looked into the hiring it out or anything, because if it is cheaper than the catch bases, maybe it would be something we can look into instead of buying a new sweeper, maybe looking into hiring it out. See, I never looked into it because we always had a sweeper, and again, we don't use it every day. It ain't like a daily used piece of equipment like the front end loader is. So maybe they'll have some info on that as well for you guys. So that's why we're throwing it out there, but that might not be something we're looking for this year. And again, maybe it's something we hire out. It'd be cheap enough to do that instead of owning our own piece of equipment on that.
Are you looking at trying to keep like the front end loader and the backhoe the same manufacturer? Is that a benefit?
Well, the John Deere, I've been, using them for a long time. The John Deere is what we have now, and backhoes. I do not do that. I looked at the piece of equipment. We bought a Bobcat Mini which is a mini excavator.
Yep.
Which we bought a couple of years ago. You guys got for us, and I looked at John Deere. I looked at Caterpillar. I looked at Bobcat, and we went for the best bang for the buck. And that's how.
I didn't know if there was benefits.
No, I do have.
parts.
You do have preference. I do like. There's like Hyundais, and there's all kinds of different things. But you got to look at it. The way I look at it is long term. It's not just the machine, is just getting parts for the machine. 20 years from now, like this thing's 18 years old, I can go to John Deere and get any part I want for this thing. And a lot of
Cats
times
like
stuff.
that too.
Huh?
Cats like that.
Correct. So Caterpillar's like that, but usually Cat's more money. A lot of times there's more price because they're paying for the name. But yeah, I always look for apples, and especially with Cat and John Deere, them are the two main, and actually Bobcat. But like I said, it was a better machine, so we want to go into Bobcat instead of a John Deere or a Caterpillar. Again, front end loaders, I think the two best out there is Caterpillar and John Deere. Again, Hyundai, they coming up with the things, they're probably a little cheaper machine, but again, you gotta look at it, I'm looking at it as, you're buying these things every 20 years, I don't want something that I can't get a part for 10 years from now, and then, now you got something, you know what I mean?
I like the American made too.
You get what you pay for.
Yes, yeah, there you go, stuff like that, so, again, when we do this, it'll go out to bid, to get a price on them, but then what quotes I got just to start, and that's, the numbers for them,
This is for a 644?
Correct, yep,
The one you have now is a 544?
correct. So I wanted a little bigger too, and again, that's optional, a little bigger, because now we're doing, like, we weren't doing crushing and all that stuff, so a little bigger machine is better for crushing, and we hire out the crusher, and when we're renting that thing, it's $5,000 a day for them guys to come in there and crush stuff. So the faster you get that material through that machine, the more money we save, because when we crush, it's still half the money than us buying the processed material from Keating. It's been working out well, and, residents bringing stuff in and us doing jobs and stuff like that. We bring it in, get a pile there, and usually we're doing like 2 days a year in crushing. We got usually a pile of lasses, and we did the school projects with that, it was, fortunate I did stuff at the golf course with that material, and so it's not costing the town, for the material, so that's been working out good. So that's the reasoning I went with a little bigger machine. We screen loan every year too as well, and again, a little bigger is a little better, faster to do the job. They're not that much difference, believe it or not, in price, from a 544 to a 644. It might be like 25,000 or something like that, so that's currently why I went with that piece. And it still can fit in our garage, it's the same height and everything, so I think this one's like 2 inches taller, so it'll still fit right in there.
644 is a much better machine, I think, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. It says a lot bigger bucket, it would suit us better, more than, sometimes that 544 is a little small, believe it or not, Now we got 10-wheelers. Before, you got that machine, we only had little 6-wheelers, so to load a 6-wheeler 544 is good enough, but now we got 10-wheelers, a couple 10-wheelers now, and the bigger machine is definitely better for loading and everything else, so.
Plus you're doing more forestry work too.
Correct. Tree work and stuff like that, yep. Correct. All right, what do you guys want to go to next? You want to go to snow? Well, snow we kept the same. That's funded, and hopefully it stays like this, so we won't have to.
How many times have you gone out? Have you gone out?
Yep, I had to have the high-ends out once. We plowed in-house a couple times, but again, it wasn't enough to go out. We've been going out a lot, so I'll probably go out again tonight. We actually just started keeping track of it December, you know what I mean, for Julie. I think we went out 12 times since December, so.
Really?
Sanding.
Joe, how are we doing on snow for this year?
Great right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
see.
knock on wood.
Again, that's what, hopefully it stays.
Huh?
Been shoveling it.
Not that I would anyways, I mean, that's for real.
CMAS,
Okay.
See this? Same thing.
All right, again, the salaries is just, that's contractual. That's, how that's worked. We have, one guy, that's Peter Fortin, that's in this position, and he's still a 5-day employee, but 3 day comes out of highway, and 2 days come out of CMAS for his salary. And that's contractual, the raise on that, and that's 2%.
2 days enough for recycling?
I'm sorry?
Being open 2 days, is that enough time for recycling?
I guess it's been working out. The select board actually voted, we stayed later on Saturday throughout the summer, so they stayed to 5 o'clock to give the people the extra hours on Saturday. Seemed to work out. Instead of 3, it's usually closed at 3, and they stayed till 5 all summer, till November, I guess, so that's, I don't know if we still want to do it next year, but that's, it seems to work. I mean, it's Friday and Saturday for the most part. You're always going to want, people can, I'm sure you can keep it open all week. You wouldn't believe it, it's actually really busy. Right now, this time of year, it ain't that bad, but, I mean, even this, people still bring in leaves and everything else, you know.
I thought it was
I mean, the
helpful
weather's
having the
been
extra
good.
hours.
Huh?
I thought it was helpful having the extra
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, because some people get out of work, or, I mean, just to get rid of the clippings, and, by the time you get out there, do the grass, because it's wet in the morning, by the time you mow it, and, have a place to bring the clippings, so I think it worked out good. It was a lot of people, like I said, we have a
Pretty
lot of
busy.
people there. Yeah, very busy. So, all right, the big one is the recycling, which is, did you change that, Julia, then you put the, the
Yeah.
recycling line item?
No change to line items, yeah.
Which again, it's hard, you can't go by the years, because we used to pay $30 a ton 2 years ago, and it went up to 50 or 75, and now we're at 108 a ton for the recycling, and that's kind of where we're at. Hopefully, Kathy's been going to a lot of meetings and a lot of things, so hopefully, we're budgeting for what we predict this year, but hopefully within the next year or two, she's going like, say, DEP things, and hopefully to come up with an answer for us, and hopefully, because it's not just us, it's all the towns that are taking a beating on this one,
What is the cost for the thing to jump up like that?
Well, a lot of it, when it first started, all our recyclables went over to China, and they recycled them over there, processed them over there, and then China, I don't know what happened with that, it got overwhelmed, so China got out, then it went to Indonesia and Vietnam and stuff like that, and now I think they're having problems with it, so that's kind of where we're at, so it's getting rid of the stuff. It's not, it's so these companies over here that, are packing it up and shipping it overseas, and it's over the seas, it's not taking it, so it's harder and harder to get rid of the material.
Yeah,
and that's
and I
why
wonder
it's
if
costing.
they're just burning everything.
The burning, I tried with that.
No, so one of the companies I was sending it to is just throwing everything in one package and
Yeah, I don't know, like I said, I talked with DEP, even like to see if we can do something with CMAS, because it is kind of recycling it, you bring it, the trash for electricity, and they weren't able, and they will not take any recyclables, they'll get rejected if we have too much recyclables in trash, so they will not, and I spoke with them over there at DEP as well, and
Are we still being rated on our contaminated
Correct.
recycles?
Correct, yep, you got A, B. So if you get, what happens now, when we still get a lot of contaminated loads, it's certain routes, and a lot of it's plastic bags. People are putting stuff, because the bags get in their machines, I guess it gets caught in the machines, and so that's the biggest no-no is plastic bags. And a lot of people put in their, they have their,
newspapers.
or newspaper or water bottles or anything, and they're just throwing them in big garbage bags.
I see that a lot.
And that's what's killing us, so, what they're doing though, they're charging us, they're not rejecting the whole load, they're just charging, again, now this goes up to $150 a ton when it gets rejected, but they're only charging us, they'll take out a ton or whatever that was contaminated in that load, out of a, 7-ton load or something, they'll take, okay, this is all out, this is like a ton of contamination, and they'll charge us $150 for that contaminated ton.
Dan, is it possible to, you said it was certain neighborhoods, is it possible to send a
yeah.
flyer, sticker,
We
something?
kind of did that already, and, again, we're trying on TV, we're trying to get the word out. Believe it or not, I had, the two girls from the office went out there one day, and they put stickers and went through everybody's thing and policed it, and,
They do that in New Bedford.
yeah,
Yeah,
again, we don't have a
yeah.
full-time thing, but I had to
Yeah.
close the office for a day, and, well, a couple of days we did that, and they went out on the routes that were, and, for the most part, a lot of people didn't know, and again, I don't know how many times we can keep doing it, but,
Yeah. Did we, well, is there a way for us to find out if we noticed a difference or not after doing that?
it was a little bit, yes, but
Yeah.
it seemed like it went right back to the, the same
It's
way.
easier.
Constantly being reminded. I've had a lot of people tell me, well, the bank says it's reusable. I says it's reusable, not recyclable. It's a
Yeah.
different.
And some of it is confusing, like, you get the bags that hold the water bottles, like if you buy a case of 16 ounce, it says recyclable right on that plastic, but
Yeah.
they don't want that because it's getting caught in the machines. So it's kind of like, how do you tell people, hey, you can't throw that plastic
No
in there?
pizza boxes, no cabs.
Yeah, so,
No.
and a lot of it was styrofoam too as well. Styrofoam and plastic bags was the two.
It gets tough around Christmas, the toys and kids and boxes.
Yeah, when they do,
Nobody
they come
takes
with a box,
it.
yeah, nobody takes the styrofoam out and gets all thrown in there. It's a difficult,
But you have a problem if you throw recyclables in the trash too.
correct.
That's
like-
It's a lose-lose situation, we kind of,
I don't know, Dan.
it's just weird, because you figure we're, in the United States, you're sending overseas, you tell me we can't do nothing over here, I mean, I don't know. Trump
They just
wanted to
take
build
it,
the
throw
wall,
it
I
in the
figured,
ocean.
why couldn't we just melt all the stuff down and make a big plastic wall? I don't know.
Recycle it into the roads,
Yeah.
into the streets. Do it
Something,
on
somebody's gonna
road
come up with an idea to help us out. That's why I think, hopefully within, a year or so, somebody comes up with an idea to take care of the problem.
Yeah, it's like,
Let's reach out to MIT.
yeah, I know. I mean, it's like,
We come up with ideas, but the answer's no.
So basically, that's it. The only other one that is up, and again, that's a contract through, it was Howland, now we have Waste Management is the one that's doing our removal. So that's for pickup, the hauling of the trash and recyclables. And that's just contract, it was like 2% or 2.6% on that one.
how long is the contract left?
We got one more year with
One
them,
more.
and then that should be, but that money, that 590 was the cost with the barrels, paying for the barrels as well. So when we got that, it was a 5-year, the barrels are warranted for 10 years, but that was part of Howland's contract that we went, and So the hauling should be half of this next, well, one more year after this, because the price of the barrels will be paid for at that 5 year point. So now we're just gonna have to pay for the hauling. So hopefully that's a big decrease 2 years from now, so.
I'm writing it down, Dan.
Write that down. I told Julie today, she wasn't aware of that either, but that was our 5 year contract, but that was with the price of the barrels. That's why it seems like it's expensive for the hauling.
Yeah.
But
It'll be-
I remember like when Howland was doing it, was around 200, a little over 200 to do the hauling, and it went into the 500 because of the cost of the barrels. So that turned it into the 5 years to pay for all our barrels, that was the trash and the recycling barrels. So,
Nice.
Quick question. Is there a reason why we don't, you're not doing the heavy item, the large item pickup? We took that
Yeah,
out?
but-
well, just, what's that? Go ahead.
Sorry,
Yep.
we have an article that still has money in it, so we decided not to fund it within the operating budget and keep it as that separate article that the money stays.
Is that what we're gonna plan to do going forward? Keep it as an article
Yeah,
instead?
yeah.
The other thing now we have, where it's kind of paying, with, people with couches and stuff like that, it's kind of, we have the dumpsters now, we're charging whatever, $10 for a couch, and it's a lot of, we have the dumpsters now to get rid of that, so that's kind of, I don't know if, we have to do one in the future, but I'm sure it'll be big if it's free, but right now it's, people got a place to get rid of it now, so we have a dumpster there, and,
You can call Waste Management, right, and they'll do it
correct, they'll come right pick it up at your house.
for about the same thing, like $30 a mattress or something.
Correct.
Or you can fill up the back of your pickup truck if you have one for about $100. Just load it up, because I did it over the summer.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm gonna do
There's a lot of junk.
the whole thing.
Find somebody in New Bedford that you know, friendly, bring it over there, they pick it up for nothing.
Well, I don't know about that, because I heard some
They
people
do.
that had residents of you dump something in the front of their house and they wanted to have to pay to get rid of it. I don't know what it was, might have been a TV or something. I
TV,
forget.
probably.
Yeah.
I think you get one time a year, you get to call and have
Yeah,
something picked
yeah.
up lunch for free,
Yeah.
and then you pay.
No.
Any other questions? It's getting off
We're good on
easy
that?
tonight, Dan.
Off to water next.
Water next?
Again, the salaries is just the 2%, that's just the contract through the union. All right. Okay, so the start of it, I guess, was the energy line item went up. And again, we're just over the past, even you see the last years, we're over like $3,100, and we're kind of just, we're underfunding that line item. So that's the reason the increase in that. Next one was the New Bedford water bills. We put in that was a 4% increase, but we, in the past, we get, last year went 3%, but the prior years were like 15% increases from the city of New Bedford. So we're hoping that we don't have that info yet. They'll be usually coming out in March or something like that. It comes out, so then we'll know what the water rate will be at that point. But, so we just budgeted that as kind of a safe number, and hopefully that goes through with that. Again, like they did like 3 years in a row, it was 15, 18%, and when I first started here, it was steady at 3, it stayed at 3, so, for like 10 years or whatever, or 8 years, whatever, and then they started going 15, so, but last year they went back to 3, so hopefully it stays the same this year, and the water's usage has been staying kind of same, or actually decreasing a little, so hopefully. And again, it's on the weather, so if you have a dry summer, people are using more water because they're using sprinklers and, for their lawns and everything. Where if it's a wet year, you're gonna have less less water use, so, you know, we're doing 3-year averages. I mean, I've done 13-year averages, but it seems like you do a 3-year works the best average on that. Maintenance the system, we went up $1,000. Again, that's just, if you look in the past, it seems like, you know, the system's definitely getting older, you're gonna need, you know, we actually have some hydrants and stuff now that need to be replaced, and a hydrant's $2,000 nowadays, you know, back in the day it was $800, you know, it just went crazy, so it's, that's where that number went. We took out the telephone altogether. I guess we don't have that bill anymore. That's through the town hall, so that's gone. The other one was the police department went up, and that was because the rates of the detail officers went from, I believe it was $45 to $50 now, so it's another $5 an hour for the police officers. So that was the increase there. And the AMR service agreement, that's just the contract we have through Mueller. Water testing, this goes up. So this is different years, we do different things. This year we have lead and copper testing, we have a couple tetrachloroethylene this year. So we have a few different tests we have to do for water. So that's why it's an increase. Now copper, lead and copper we do every 3 years. Unless you have a problem, then the DEP will require you to do it every year. But knock on wood, we're smooth sailing with that, so we're on a 3-year testing for that, so that's the increase in that. So next year, we'll probably that testing for next year. And the new meters, the increase in that. We're now purchasing new MTUs. We're currently on the 300 meters a year, so that was part of the thing the select board voted on. And instead of, years ago, they wanted replacing all the meters, so we had to do them all at once, so you get 3,000 water users, and it got costly. We didn't even do it, that was just before my time, and they had a company come in and change out all the meters, and I think it was like $600,000-$700,000 to do that job, you know? So we kind of just kicked it back, and we wanted doing 300 a year for the 10 years, and then we can actually start back over where we left off from 10 years from now. So it keeps the meters all up to where they should be. Because as they get older, you wind up losing the meters, not calculating as good, and we're losing money. So what we did with why this went up, again, because of the MTUs we got now are newer, high tech. They used to read daily reads, and these new ones will read hourly. So we can, it's more accurate for even people's bills. So if you come into the office and you say, you know, how come I went through this water? I can tell you use this much water this day, and, you know, because it gives us hourly read now. So if you even have a water leak or something, it'll alert us in the office, and we can call you and say, hey, you got something going on over there, you got a water leak, or because that thing will tell us, you know what I mean? Yeah, you use this much water in an hour, it shouldn't, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a really good system. So, all the new, you know, the new MTUs were a couple bucks more than the old ones. I think they're $110 versus $100 a thing. So that was the other reason for that increase in that line item. And again, it's more accurate, it's definitely better for billing, and for homeowners. Anybody who wants to get that info, just come over in our office, and I can tell you what you did last year for water, what you did, and it tells you what day. I can tell you what day you weren't home. You weren't home for 3 weeks because that water meter didn't move. You know, so it's all, we can print it out on the sheet for you, so it's really nice system.
Good investment.
Yes, yep. That was before my time, but that was, you know, we're just improving it. We improved the tenors, and again, you know, like anything technology nowadays, it just gets better and better. So I think that's about it for the water. You got any questions on that? Or?
What do we got for reserve? 50,000?
That
Yeah, for the budget?
if something happens?
Yeah.
Again, that's, if any of that's used, right, that's have to go through the Board of Selectmen.
Yes.
Vote, and again, that's probably an emergency situation that, Maine blew up and we had to do a lot of, I see, you see them on the TV lately, it seems like they're all over the place, the water mains, and you see when they break, they wind up, all the asphalt sidewalks, they see a mess, so something like that might, but hopefully that doesn't, again, knock on wood, doesn't happen.
Any other questions on the water? Sewer?
Again, everything stayed the salaries, it's the 2%, and that's for the contract. I believe the only increase on this one is the energy, is the big one there. And again, it's just from how we've been running in the past. I don't know what it is, the cost of electricity went up or something, but it seems like it, I went a little higher there than probably, but if you look in the past, it was like 12, 11, we put in for 95, but I think we're already up to like 7 already, so we're probably looking at like 14 for this year. So that's kind of what we based it on, came in at 15 for that. Again, we put the 3% there on New Bedford. We don't have that info yet, and this is kind of hopefully what they did for last year, and that's why we put the 3% on that one. Same thing with gasoline went up, and again, this is kind of going on past, we're at 1,200, so, we put 1,500 and put 1,000, so I think we're gonna be over. We haven't got that done yet, that usually you do later on, right, Julie, the from the water and sewer? Because it's definitely, all the trucks, the water trucks and the sewer, they have different gas tags, so that whatever fuel comes up, I give her monthly reports on that, and so the fuel that department uses will come out of that line item. And that's basically it on sewer, there's really no other changes, everything else is level funded through there. You guys have any questions on sewer?
Saying 50,000 for...
And that's still in the air as well, correct, yep. We actually did we didn't have to use that last year, I don't think, so that was a good thing, we didn't have to use it last year. And again, I think that's nice to have in there in case of emergency, and it was a good idea, and we didn't have to use it last year, and hopefully I don't have to use it again this year. All right, what else we got? We got one more, we do get that forest budget, right? Am I doing that for now? That's kind of Ray's, I don't think he's gonna run again. That's what the word was from him. I'm kind of doing this for him. This really ain't my position to do. It's elected position. I'm just, again, trying to put a reality to what this is, because I had it for the last 6 months, and I know what I've spent on it, and what I've done with trees, and, again, Ray, was a little behind, I think, and I had some people, stuff wasn't done for 3 years, and I don't know if that's Ray's budget, or he didn't, have time to do it, or whatever, but, that's where we're at, so I kind of put a little more reality budget for this, so I changed the salary for one, because if Ray's not gonna do it, I don't know if anybody's gonna do it for 600. I'm not, so, just saying, it's just a lot, and there's a lot of calls, you wouldn't believe how much tree stuff we have coming in our office, and, girls taking phone calls, and I'm going to look at all the stuff, and gonna make sure it's on, because people try, it's not even on town property, it'd be their property, and, some of them are perfectly good trees they want you to take down, so, it's got a little job there to, and, you know, with me, I'm lining up the tree guy, you go in there, and we work with the tree guy, so this tree guy we're working with is actually excellent. I tried using the guy where he wants to work 2 hours and takes off, so this new guy we got actually been working out well, and he's working with us, so he'd go up with a boom, cut it down, and we'd take the logs, or we'll chip it for him, or, you know, just to save the money that way, and that's how we've been kind of doing it. But even doing that, we've done, I can't even count how many trees we took down already in 6 months. It's been a lot, you know, a lot of big trees too, you know. And again, they were all rotted out and ready to go, so, and there's still a ton more out there, so.
These
That's
are
right,
not
that's
trees going through the power lines, right? Power company handles those? These
Correct.
are
Yep, we
just
don't touch
town
that. This is just
trees.
town property trees, correct. Yep. And you'd be amazed how many, if you really start looking at them, you know, and which ones that don't have no leaves on them. Check them out in the spring, you'll see how many that really have to come down and rotted and, you know, diseased or whatever, so.
And it's really a safety hazard, you know.
Yeah, you know, they're gonna come, you know, and again, this is where we're at now, and if they come down, we can take care of them when they're on the ground. A lot of these stuff that's in the wires, if they're not in the wires, we can still take down, we got that lift we got now. Again, our guys ain't tree cutters, I don't really want them in the wires, but if they're on the ground, we'll cut them up and take care of them. Or if it's something that's a safe place that we can, you know, notch it and pull it down and take it out, I'll do that. So we still do that too as well, you know. This is more like, you know, dangerous ones or closer to a, you know, the chance of falling on a house or, you know, limbs going over or something like that. You know, we gotta, because that's gonna be cut up in small pieces and taken out with a boom, so.
You don't want them falling on a school bus or...
Yeah, anything like that, you know, we've had, yeah, like I said, we have limbs, again, we can't reach, you know, or they're into the wire, so we have, and our boom is a steel boom, so it really ain't made to go around wires or anything, because that's electrical hazards, like all them boom trucks are all fiberglass booms, so if they hit a wire or something, it's not gonna, you know, electrocute the guy in the piece of equipment, so.
We don't need that.
You know. So that's why we're kind of staying out of that, and that's where we're at for now.
Keeping it green, planting replacement trees?
No. I haven't, no. I only had it for 6 months, right? The next elected guy will probably do that, right? We'll try to get him to... You gonna run for that?
No, no, thank you.
So I mean, that's where, I don't know if you guys got that in front of you, so I went, instead of 600, I changed that to 2,000. So maybe that'd be a little more appetite for somebody to take that position too, as well. And then he had 10 and I kind of doubled it to 20. And reason why, I went through 30 in 6 months. So that's where we're at. And I figured 20, you know, it seems to be slowing down now. I had a million tree calls, and even Ray gave me a bunch of stuff that he had to take care of already, you know. So between what he had for calls and what we got for calls in there, it was what it was, you know. So again, it slowed down now, but I'm sure in the spring it'll pick back up again. And by then we might have a new guy, and he might change his budget altogether. Maybe he might, I don't know. So again, we're just putting this out there for now to kind of get through it. And I believe, when's the election before the town meeting?
It's right after.
Oh, the election's after the town meeting, okay.
Yep, the Saturday after.
And again, the board hasn't seen this, so if the board might not want to do this at all, I don't know. We haven't, you know, discussed this with the board at all, so that might be another, again, maybe it's not even gonna happen, I don't know, so. We're just throwing it out there tonight, so you guys get a little.
Another battle, but-
Yeah, so.
Well, they might give it to you for another year.
Again, I don't know, you know, I mean, the things up, I don't think I can take that, because it is
I
an
don't think
elected
so.
position.
Yeah.
So, again, I helped out I don't mind helping, but, I don't want to help for another year, but it is what it is. I will if we have to, but, if somebody doesn't want it, I guess then we're gonna have to do something anyway,
Yeah,
regardless,
so
so.
it's one of those weird positions where it's mandated, every town has to have a tree warden. Similar to like a veterans agent, there are few positions in town where the state has come down and said you have to have this position, so it's elected, and we need to have it, so if anyone wants to run, please do.
Tree warden they don't cut the trees, they just...
Just
Find them.
supervise everything, and yeah. And so, still trying to figure out if we can even increase the salary. I, talked to Dan about it today, and it's a good idea, I think, because, you know, you obviously need to replace people. $600 isn't much to be in charge of. You know, Dan got the crash course on how much work it involved, and,
Yeah.
you know, so
And the phone calls.
$50 a month pre-tax is hard to get somebody to want to come and dedicate all that time and energy into, you know, running the whole program. So it would be nice to do something about that, but I know that we have certain, you know, bylaws about elected officials and
So then that
salaries,
might
so I
have
need
to
to,
be-
I need
that
to
might have
check
to be
it.
voted
That can't-
on, right?
Yeah,
We can't change the charter to make it an appointed position?
It will probably have to be changed at town meeting.
Yeah.
So again, all this, I don't think we can
It's a
even say,
lot.
oh, yeah, I'm gonna give you 2,000. It's definitely probably gonna have to go through town meeting
Yeah.
regardless if it.
so we'll figure it out. It's on the radar.
Any other questions for Mr. Menard? Not easy tonight, then.
Yeah. I know, really quiet, what happened?
Yeah.
All right, guys, you have a good night.
Thank you very much.
And you guys know where I am if you guys have any other questions. And again, let me talk to the board and let's go through that and maybe we'll be seeing you again. All right, guys, have a good night.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Take care, Dan, have a good
Does he
night.
have his paperwork? Will you pass it around?
I don't need them, I have copies of that, so
Oh,
if you guys
okay.
wanna look through that later or whatever, for the
This
sheets
one,
and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you guys can take them, like I said, you guys keep them, I just paid them copies, they were my copies, but I have more up in the office, so. Okay, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Those are the only hearings that we have scheduled for this evening. Kathy, did you reschedule the town clerk to a certain date?
I didn't, but it's probably gonna be where she is pretty sick.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're meeting the 19th, school vacation week, it'll probably be the 26th.
So we'll just leave that tentative now. Old business next week on the 12th, we have the fire EMS. That's still confirmed. The golf and the planning department, and he's gonna be ready. Okay, so we'll have fire EMS, golf, and the planning department for next week. That's the 12th, 7 o'clock. Any new business that anybody wants to bring up or propose?
I have one thing to mention. So I don't know if you got this in the mail, but Old Colony is doing their FY21 budget development, and Wednesday o'clock at Old Colony, the library, they're doing their finance meeting to, they said that this is essentially to approve their budgets for now, the current draft that they have. So we'll be able to see the budgets then. I'm gonna plan to attend, but I didn't know if anyone from here was interested. He said it should only be a half-hour meeting, because we have a meeting at 7, so the timing would work out if anyone wanted to attend. So that's February 12th at 6 o'clock at Old Colony in their library.
Like, are you interested in that?
Just trying to see if I can do that, Bob.
Next week is what, February 12th?
I don't think I can make it, Bob.
Okay. I'll try to line somebody up
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
take care of that.
If we can't, let me know and I'll see if I can
Okay.
make a change.
You say 6 or 6:30?
6.
6.
Yeah, but he said it should only be about a half hour. So that'll give just enough time to get back here for 7.
It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. He said
doing pretty
that
good.
they don't have many changes really to their budget. I think he said something about adding a half-time position, And like, they didn't have any major capital changes or anything, so it's really a very similar budget to last year. But then our apportionment depends on how many students we have,
Right.
so.
That's a flexible.
Yeah, and I try to get it out of them, but they haven't gotten back to me yet as to what that would mean, because it could go either way for us, and, you know, this is a tight budget year, so I was hoping to get a little preview, but I haven't gotten anything back yet, so we'll see. I'm hoping in this not a big change from last year.
No movement on the school, our regular school.
For their budget, no, they did set a date, if it works for everybody, for March 11th. So instead of the 4th like we planned, they were going to look to see if we could do the week after. They feel like they should have their budget pretty set at that point. And if there are any changes, I know a lot depends on tuitions and who's going where, but I told Kristen too, any changes that would happen afterward, you know, as usual, you present to the board, and if there are any changes, we'll let the board know thereafter, but I think everyone understands that with the school, those, you know, small changes can happen after that point.
So tentatively, March 11th.
Mhm.
Is that confirmed, or we're still waiting?
That's with the school, and I'm confirming with the selectmen that it can work. I know I've heard from a few that it does, but I want to make sure with all three.
And I think a few weeks ago when we met, was it not, like the first week of January, we were asking if we can get line item budget similar to what we get now, so they'll bring us that day.
Yeah, I can have her do that, yep.
Yeah. I think that's what we talked about, if I remember correctly, so that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And also the end of year.
Transfers.
Yes, the transfers.
Yeah, I have that, I can send that to you.
Yeah.
For last year, all the end of year transfers?
Yeah, even actually a couple of years, I'm not sure that we've seen it in a couple of years.
Yeah.
I know, it just gives me a.
Can you email
something to get-
those?
Yeah,
Yeah?
that'd be awesome.
Okay. Anything else? I have nothing else, I don't think,
That's it?
that I can think of. There's just too much.
All right, we have some meeting minutes. March 27th of 2019. Absent was Jackie Stanley. I'll entertain a motion to accept these minutes. Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. And we have the meeting minutes for January 29th of 2020. And absent was Mr. Howcroft and Mr. St. Ange.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Right.
Opposed?
I'll abstain from both those, seeing I wasn't on the committee.
Yeah, I just,
Okay.
I thought of two things, if I can. Just to remind people that we're having a change of command ceremony for the police this Sunday, the 9th, at 11 a.m. at the Council on Aging, just to, you know, kind of pass the torch from Chief Alves to Chief Richmond, and also we have a new Sergeant Matten, so it'll be a nice ceremony if anyone wants to attend. And a reminder that the PJ Keating hearing is on the 11th, so this upcoming Tuesday. It's at the school, at the middle school, at 6 o'clock. We've sent out certified mail, regular mail to the people who are abutters to PJ Keating. And then we'll also be doing a reverse 911 to let everyone know. Would rather, you know, send out more notice than needed, just so that everyone at least is aware of it, because I know it's a big thing for a lot of people, so just wanted to throw out those reminders.
so that's Sunday the 9th for the change of command meeting at the Council on Aging?
Yep.
At 1 o'clock?
At 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
Yep.
sorry. And then for the 11th for the PJ Keating hearing
Yep,
at the school,
at the school at 6 p.m.
6 o'clock.
Yep.
Is it worth putting that in the bulletin board? At least the PJ Keating piece, you know, that bulletin in town center?
Yeah, yeah, we will be.
You know, 'cause
Yeah,
the
on
real
the
estate
board.
tax bill's there, but.
Yes, we have, we will be
Because I would
putting
think
it
that
there.
would be a great spot to put it for.
Yep, we have it on our website, where we'll be posting it on the Facebook pages for like, you know, the town doesn't have our own one yet, but I know like fire, EMS, and police have it, so they'll be posting it too to remind people, but yeah, we will be putting it on the bulletin board, like near the church.
Yeah, exactly, at the stop sign.
Yep,
The
yeah,
meeting for Keating, that's gonna be for burying 3 tanks, is it? 3 oil tanks?
yeah, so it's.
Nothing about pollution or anything, just.
No,
just the
so it's
tanks.
only on the land use license that the selectmen have to approve, which relates to the movement of those storage tanks to the front of the property.
20,000
Yeah,
gallon tanks?
one is 30,000 and I think 2 are 20,000. Yeah.
And where are they moving them from? Are they?
From the
back.
way back of the property, and now
Yeah.
they're gonna be right in the front. They're actually, they've already built the tanks, you can see them there, they haven't filled them yet, so they've built them in
Are they
anticipation that
gonna
it would be
be
approved.
underground or above ground?
Above ground.
Above ground.
Mm-hmm. The tanks in question are above ground, yes. Yeah, so, you know, that obviously brings an issue for people who live closer to the front, because my understanding is it's pretty noisy, there's gonna be more trucks. Right now, the trucks go to the back and line up to fill up on the asphalt, and that will be happening in the front. Noise, trucks,
Oil smell.
smells, I think,
That's gonna be
so.
great.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll have a lot of residents who live nearby coming to, this is their
great.
opportunity to voice the concerns that they have. But that's the main issue, is they're moving those, the storage tanks up front, and so all of the processing will happen up front now. I encourage people to watch the soil board meetings, they've talked about this for a long time too. I think when I look at them, there's only like 6 views, so I don't think a lot of people are paying attention, but
I'm surprised.
they've done, I mean, and Joe was here last week too, they've done a lot of work on this. I jumped in at the end, and they've put so much time and effort into all of this, you know, between the soil board, the Board of Health, the fire chief, the selectmen, they've all been working on this for a really long time, so I encourage people who are impacted to watch some of those meetings as well. They're very informative.
So what would happen if they weren't allowed to move those tanks forward?
So they want to move them forward so that they have more area to blast. So I think where the processing facility is right now, they want to start blasting in that area and use the rock that's below it. I think it becomes a legal issue if the town were to say no to it.
But they're already there.
Well, they've built the tanks, but they haven't
They haven't
filled
filled
them
the
yet.
tank's already there.
Yeah,
see
so
when you
so if you
drive
drive by, you'll see
Oh,
the
yeah, I've seen
tanks
them,
and you'll know
yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
you could picture what it'll be like. But, you know, we're hoping to have some maps at the hearing too, to make things easy for people to see. Hopefully we can get it projected so it's easy for people to see, but we'll make sure we put everything up for, you know, online if you don't have good access to the maps. But it's helpful to see in that sense where they were and where they're going and how close they are to the road and to properties. Yeah. It's definitely a big issue. So please come if you feel like it.
Everyone's invited.
Everyone's invited. You know, even though, again, I'm sure the people who live nearby will mostly be in attendance, it impacts everybody. That, you know, any people who are driving by, there's likely to be more traffic, I think, from the trucks, the vehicles. Again, they'll all be in front. They have a new plan to be winding them, you know, because they all have to get in line and they can't be on the main road, so they'll be winding them around, but they'll all be in the front of the property instead of up the back.
Be a lot more visible.
A lot more visible, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The whole operation is gonna be a lot more visible the way.
A lot more trucks idling with exhaust fumes all over the neighborhood. Never mind all the dust flying over there.
Yes. So, I mean, I know like at the boards, we've been looking at everything we
So
can
the property
do
values
to
down the drain.
to put conditions on to make sure that they're following DEP and EPA regulations to the largest extent that we can. So, you know, every now and then somebody comes up with another idea like, oh, we should look at this, and there's a lot of creativity going on, I think, and it's hard because you want to have as much foresight as possible. You know, we don't want to be kicking ourselves 3 years down the road like, oh, why didn't we think of this?
Right.
You know, and it's hard to do when there's so many aspects, and this facility has been in operation for such a long time, so it would be great to hear whatever concerns people have, especially residents who live nearby, because they know what's impacting them more than I might, or any of the other board members, for that matter.
They've been living with it for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. No further business, I'll entertain a motion.
So motion to,
Adjourn.
Do you have something else to Did you want to do the second too?
no.
Wait a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.